Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're taking part in the Elven Civil War. We're going to take the High Elves against the Dark Elves, so let's go ahead and jump straight to the army compositions. As you can see here, we've got Tyrion as my lord here. He's not carrying the Heart of Avalorn, but he does have Sunfang and Fate and Riposte, as well as Foe Seeker. We've also got a High Mage here, just in case of flying shenanigans. She's also got that healing, of course, and is currently getting a face full of bark, which is just amazing. In terms of the infantry line, we've gone relatively cheap with just 4 units of spearmen. That allows me to go very heavy on the elite tier cavalry. We've got 3 units of dragon princes spread around the battlefield, as well as 2 Illyrian reavers and a phoenix, a flamespire phoenix for our aerial support here. Gets that nice terror bombing effect. Decent single target armor piercing. Pretty good overall. And yeah, that's it for my army. For my opponent's army, he's got Morathi up in the air, 4 units of Dark Riders, who are currently getting tangled up with some Illyrian Reavers, 3 Dread Spears, a single Blackguard, 2 Hargoneth Executioners, and 2 Witch Elves. Very strong army overall. He's also got 2 units of Dark Riders, Vanguard deployed in that corner. Without further ado, let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear, as we already have unfolded melee engagement here. Obviously, Illyrian Reaver is going to be far superior to their Dark Rider counterparts here because of their martial prowess. They're going to pull away, though, as there are lots of Dark Riders here shooting at him. We're going to start to take the south end of that engagement. Morathi decides to come down here, so I'm going to go ahead and seize this opportunity. The Dark Riders are going to ride off and leave Morathi all alone, so we're going to hook the Phoenix in, as well as Tyrion himself, to keep Morathi on the ground. You can see she's trying to pull back up into the air here, but because the Illyrian Reavers have her pinned in, she's not able to get back up in the air, so Tyrion's going to come in and absolutely teach her a lesson. The Flamespire Phoenix also coming down here, so, I mean, obviously Morathi does not have very much armor, doesn't have the best defensive stats, so she definitely will start to take quite a bit of damage here. Very bad for my opponent. You can see he's pushing up his infantry line, desperately trying to get in range, and a very nice Soul Stealer being dropped as well to help keep Morathi healed. It's going to drain the hit points of both Tyrion and the Flamespire Phoenix and the Illyrian Reavers that are remaining in this pocket, and again, help keep Morathi nice and healthy. Dread Spears coming in, so we're going to go ahead and we had some all sorts of magical effects going down. Those Dragon Princes had gotten a quick charge on the side, but we're going to unleash the Sunfang, the Bound Bombardment from Morathi also coming down as well, pretty much finishing off those Illyrian Reavers. We are going to drop an Overcast Tempest from the High Mage here, pinning Morathi in place, and this is the main issue with bringing Morathi in the air against the High Elves, is they can do this to you, which is going to be very, very bad. She'll take quite a bit of damage there and not be able to escape. Meanwhile, you can see over here, we're kind of leading most of my opponent's infantry on a wild goose chase with this unit of Dragon Princes here. Unfortunately, I'm going to mismicro them a little bit while I'm bringing up these other Dragon Princes, and they are going to get caught and enraged by these Witch Elves, and once they're enraged, I'm not going to be able to do too much here. My opponent will just be able to use these 2 units of 3 units here of Dark Riders to be able to finish them off. The Hargoneth Executioners, of course, do AP and all that jazz. In the main line, Tyrion, unfortunately, now is surrounded by Blackguard from Agarond, which is definitely not ideal, so we're going to drop that Apotheosis on him, get that army-wide Shield of Sapphire proc, as well as the healing on him, of course. You can see a unit of Illyrian Reavers has been dealt with. This unit of Dragon Princes also has been dealt with. A little bit of a mistake on my part. I had left the pathing on for this Phoenix to go after Morathi even after she dived, even though I definitely should not have dived into that situation there, because now this Phoenix is going to get stuck in by Dark Riders. He might be able to terrify some of these units away, but he's not going to be able to get onto Morathi, which was my main target. That being said, though, we still have one more Pocket Tempest here, so we're going to pull this up. You can see the bounce power slightly in my favor here as Morathi starts to take a lot of damage. She is going to slowly be losing her HP here, and let's see if we're able to finish her off. Looks like she's dropping a Soul Blight over here, so lowering the armor and stats of a lot of these units in this pocket. Honestly, probably not the best, because Spearmen do have relatively low armor as well, and that Tempest is just barely going to be enough to finish off Morathi. You can see she falls right at the tail end of that effect there, so that's going to put me a little bit ahead on the balance power. Still a very close battle, though. You can see these Dark Riders pulling away. They definitely do not want to get caught here, so we're going to instead switch the pathing onto these Witch Elves and get a nice charge here. You can see once the pathing was switched, they came in, did a ton of impact damage. And obviously, Witch Elves are very, very squishy, so you don't want to get a nice, clean, open charge like that from Elite Tier Shock Cavalry. But that being said, one unit of Dragon Princes has been chased off. We still got plenty of Dark Riders on station. The 2 melee Dark Riders as well coming in with the Dread Spears here. Going to be trying to pin these Dragon Princes in place. But we're just going to pull away here. The physical resistance and the elite defensive stats mean I'm not too worried about the damage that these Dark Riders can do. You can see in the meanwhile, this infantry engagement, we've been able to pretty much get a full surround here on a lot of these Blackguard and Executioners. That being said, we're just using Spearmen, so I don't expect to necessarily win this infantry engagement. I just need them to hold for some amount of time. You can see some nice ping-ponging going around with those Dark Riders, but we are going to catch an unbraced unit of Dread Spears here with the Dragon Princes. They're going to get in and just do a massive charge here, just savage those Dread Spears. They're going to be off the battlefield relatively shortly. We do still have the High Mage online, thankfully, putting a little bit more healing into Tyrion, which is to keep him nice and healthy, while unfortunately these Enraged Spearmen are going to come in and get involved in this centerline engagement. Meanwhile, though, we've got Dragon Princes pushing up very aggressively over on the side here. You can see these Dark Riders are going to come out and try and respond, but unsupported without any of these Dark Riders or anything firing in. It's going to be pretty rough. You can see the Dark Riders are beginning to fire in there, but we're then going to use this other unit of Dragon Princes to go after them. When while this unit of Dragon Princes, I mean, they will take a tiny bit of damage here, but overall they're really going to outclass the Dark Riders pretty much in every way. You can see my opponent very aggressively pathing after my Dragon Princes, trying to interrupt their attack order so they don't chase down his Dark Riders with the crossbows here. Because honestly, the Dark Riders are really the only chance he has left to deal with these Dragon Princes. Because if I'm able to take him out, I'm just going to be able to cycle charge his infantry to death, even though he does still have some Blackguard mixed in here. They're very, very low, taking quite a bit of damage over the course of the battle. Tyrion himself still very healthy. You can see the High Mage chasing off some Witch Elves there on the side. We do manage to catch this one unit of Dark Riders just slightly. You can see several unit models falling there. We're going to be chasing through, trying to get on them. Some nice play from my opponent here, kind of interrupting the attack orders. These Dragon Princes temporarily get bogged down in the infantry line, so we're going to need to get them up and out as quickly as possible. We don't want them just sitting and fighting. Same thing with Tyrion. I mean, there's a lot of armor-piercing elite tier troops in that vicinity, so we don't want to stand and take that fight. That being said, we caught these Dark Riders in a little bit of an awkward situation here where they were between this Dragon Prince and this Dragon Prince. So the melee Dark Riders have been routed off, so there's nothing to interrupt my Dragon Princes anymore. Now they're going to be able to get some work done on these Dark Riders proper. You can see this unit of Dark Riders with crossbows has taken some damage. This other unit of Dark Riders with crossbows firing in, but a little bit of mismicro for my opponent as I kind of ping-pong between these different targets. The High Mage is also going to come in from behind, so we should be able to rout off those Dark Riders. You can see they took a ton of shock damage and immediately got routed off. So the unit of Dark Riders, still 36 unit models, pretty close on the balance of power, but at this point we've been able to take care of 2 of the remaining Dark Riders with crossbows. You can see there's still 1 more here in the woods, and the melee Dark Riders have rallied now as well. Apotheosis going down to heal those Dragon Princes up just a little bit, and again, we're going to be chasing off some units here. Tyrion will grab cinematic action as he comes in to just deck what's left of these Dread Spears, and then they pretty much immediately rout, and oh man, getting some synchronized decapitations in there. All sorts of good stuff. But yeah, you can see the victorious Dark Elf infantry force going to be pushing up, trying to get on Tyrion here, but we're just not gonna take that engagement head up. I mean, there's really no reason for us to. Slightly ahead on the balance of power, and the Dragon Princes, you can see pushing through the Dark Riders. So let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit more here as we chase off this unit of Dark Riders. So the unit of Dark Riders running from the Dragon Princes, a few of their unit models have been caught up, and they are going to get taken down. But at this point, we're in a little bit of a dangerous situation because these Dragon Princes are pretty exposed over here on the side. So we're going to bring these guys up to kind of threaten this infantry force, and we'll see what we can do. My idea here is that we can kind of use a multiple-pronged attack to maybe try and push the Dark Riders up and around this side of the infantry formation, then circle around with these guys and get in there. And let's see if we're able to do that. Finishing off these melee Dark Riders needs to be a priority, because then we can get in on these Dark Riders with crossbows with relative impunity here. You can see them firing in. They're going to do a little bit of damage here. Some of those bolts will get blocked by the missile block chance of the Dragon Princes, who actually have, I believe, a 35%. Yep, 35% missile block chance. But you can see here, we're just kind of baiting my opponent, trying to get him to move his infantry, you know, out and commit this way. You can see, though, unfortunately, these melee Dragon Princes, the melee Dark Riders are getting caught by the Dragon Princes here, and as they start to lose their unit models out, I mean, obviously they are faster than the Dragon Princes. Dragon Princes, though, 78 speed, one of the faster elite tier shock cavalry units in the game. They also, once they hit their charge speed, will be able to catch the unit of Dark Riders. I must have missed it, but I just came up and took a nice angle here so that these Hargoneth Executioners, when they pursued, we were able to turn the corner around them without getting caught, and now going to be inundating these Dark Riders in the back line here. You can see, again, once we hit that charge speed, it's going to be very, very tricky for these Dark Riders to try and get away, so Tyrion himself is probably one of the fastest characters in the game. Currently, with the Foe Seeker, he has 117 speed, so I mean, he's going to have no problem catching these Dark Riders eventually. So, since we were able to catch him out away from the infantry support here, it's going to be a very, very favorable engagement, despite how tattered these Dragon Princes are. And Tyrion himself has taken quite a bit of damage, all things considered. But again, once that unit is routed off, we immediately ping-pong over to the other unit, not giving my opponent a chance to react. Unfortunately, those Dragon Princes did get caught up by the Witch Elves, so they're going to get enraged and dragged down into the mud. But Tyrion and the High Mage were able to get away here, so they're going to be continuing to siphon off unit models from this unit of Dark Riders here. Unfortunately, we did get caught up a little bit here, but thankfully the Witch Elves are not there to enrage, so we're able to just quickly pull away there. We've also got one unit of Dragon Princes rallying, while this other one slowly gets dragged into the mud here. So let's see what we're able to do. Despite the balance power being pretty heavily in my favor, it's still going to be tough to try and take out this infantry force for the Dark Elves. You can see we're trying to cut off the angle of retreat here for these Dark Riders. We are going to be getting in here, making contact with a couple unit models, but then I realized the Witch Elves are very, very close and try and get out. Unfortunately, the High Mage is not quite able to get out. Tyrion does escape, but what this kind of does is it draws my opponent's formation out a little bit, so then we're going to be able to come in with a decisive side charge here with these Dragon Princes. So let's grab some cinematic action as they do so. Oh no, actually switching targets now onto these Witch Elves who were exposed, and just one charge should be enough to pretty much finish them off here. You can see they took an insane amount of shock damage, and then immediately we just kind of turn the corner and go after these Dark Riders here. Some rallied Dragon Princes also charging downhill, going to be finishing off those Dark Riders. So with them gone, it's just this infantry force left. You can see the Blackguard actually routing off there. It's just the two units of Hargoneth Executioners at this point, so should be able to finish them off with one more glorious charge. So let's go in for a ride along here with the Dragon Princes as they finish things off into the Hargoneth Executioners. A beautiful side charge there, and yeah, that should be all it. You can see the army losses now triggering, and a victory for the Azur, the High Elves. So, very fun battle, always fun and thematic matchup anytime you're able to take the High Elves versus the Dark Elves. In the end of the day, Tyrion himself, 160 kills with the Sunfangs and also just beasting it out in melee. Obviously, the Spearmen didn't do too much, but the Dragon Princes, 207 kills on these guys, 85 here. This one didn't really pay out, only 43, but Lyrian Reavers also did relatively well for themselves. The Phoenix kind of got misplayed a little bit. It did some okay damage to Morathi, but definitely got caught out. My opponent did a good job of isolating that, and this other unit of Dragon Princes as well, and taking them off the battlefield. Dark Riders definitely helped in that respect, but a little bit rough getting caught out by the Dragon Princes and the Lyrian Reavers and so on. Hargoneth Executioners and Blackguard both did some serious work in the front line. They're legit contenders. 136 kills as well on the Witch Elves for a relatively low model count army. It's pretty impressive. Despite that, though, they did not pick up an XP chevron. Losing Morathi, though, was definitely the clincher in the beginning there. Losing your leadership that early on like that, even with a high leadership faction like the Dark Elves, can be devastating. So thankfully for me, I did bring the High Mage with the with the Tempest, and that's just another PSA, I guess. Don't bring flying units against the High Elves. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.